In the hot, dusty roads of Galilee, where olive trees silvered in the sun and the Sea of Galilee glittered like molten tin, he was born. Not in the royal palace, but in a stable in Bethlehem, where the shepherds arrived before the Magi. His mother, Miriam, swaddled the infant, and Joseph, the old carpenter, stood in the doorway, afraid to breathe. The star above the roof burned so brightly that the shadows disappeared. Years passed. The boy grew up in Nazareth. On Saturdays he attended synagogue, where the elders marveled at how a 12-year-old boy could argue with the teachers of the law and not lose. But at home, he continued to plane boards, carry water, and help his mother. No one knew that within him already burned the fire that would later become the light of the world. When he turned 30, he went into the Judean desert. For 40 days he neither ate nor drank. There, on the bare rocks, where even lizards hid in the shade, the tempter came to him. 3 times he offered bread made from stones, the kingdoms of the world, a miracle from the temple roof. 3 times Jesus answered, quietly but firmly, "Man shall not live by bread alone. You shall not tempt the Lord. You shall not serve the Lord your God only." And Satan retreated, and angels brought water from an invisible spring. He returned to Galilee a changed man. His eyes glowed, his voice became a trumpet. By the sea he saw fishermen, Simon and Andrew, and said simply, "Follow me, and I will make you fishers of men." They dropped their nets and departed. He also called James, John, and Matthew the tax collector, whom everyone hated for taking extra money for Rome. And he rose from the table and departed, leaving his silver. He walked through towns and villages, and crowds followed him. He touched the lepers, and their leprosy retreated. He smeared the eyes of the blind with mud and spittle, and they saw. He freed a demoniac in the land of the Gadarenes, and the one who had previously broken his chains sat at Jesus' feet, clothed and in his right mind. Once he fed 5,000 people with 5 loaves of bread and 2 fish with 12 baskets left over. But he spoke even more miracles. He spoke in such a way that hearts cracked like old skins with new wine. "Blessed are the poor in spirit. Blessed are those who mourn. Blessed are the meek. Love your enemies. Bless those who curse you. Do not lay up for yourselves treasures on earth. Give to him who asks you, and from him who would borrow from you, do not turn away." The Pharisees were angry. "Who is this man that he can forgive sins? Only God can." And he answered, "The Son of Man has authority on earth to forgive sins." And he said to the paralytic, "Rise, take up your bed and walk." And he arose. In Jerusalem, whispers were growing. The high priests were afraid. The Romans would see a rebellion, and their power would end. Judas Iscariot, one of the 12, went at night to Caiaphas and said, "What will you give me if I deliver him to you?" They counted out 30 pieces of silver. On Thursday evening, they gathered in the upper room. Jesus took bread, blessed it, broke it, and said, "This is my body, which is broken for you." Then the cup. "This cup is the new covenant in my blood." The disciples did not understand it then, but they remembered it forever. That night, in the Garden of Gethsemane, he prayed until he sweated blood. "Father, if it be possible, let this cup pass from me. Nevertheless, not as I will, but as you will." The disciples were asleep. They came with torches and swords. Judas kissed him, a sign. Jesus was bound. They tried him at night, illegally. The false witnesses were confused. Finally, Caiaphas asked directly, "Are you the Christ, the Son of the Blessed?" Jesus answered, "I am, and you will see the Son of Man sitting at the right hand of power and coming on the clouds of heaven." They tore his clothes. "Blasphemy!" They spat, slapped his face. In the morning, to Pilate, he found no fault, but the crowd shouted, "Crucify him!" Pilate washed his hands. They scourged him. They put a purple robe on him and pressed a crown of thorns into his head. He carried the cross to Golgotha, falling under the weight. Simon of Cyrene helped him. At the 9th hour he cried out, "Eli, Eli, lama sabachthani?" That is to say, my God, why have you forsaken me?" Then quietly, "It is finished," and, "Father, into your hands I commit my spirit." The veil of the temple was torn in two from top to bottom. The earth shook, and the Roman centurion said, "Truly this was the Son of God." They laid him in Joseph of Arimathea's tomb, and they rolled a stone, and they posted a guard. And on the 3rd day, at dawn, the women came to anoint the body with spices, and the tomb was empty. The angel said, "Why do you seek the living among the dead? He is not here, he is risen." At first they did not believe. Then he himself appeared, to Mary Magdalene, to the disciples on the road to Emmaus, to all 11 in the upper room when the doors were locked. Thomas placed his fingers in the wounds and cried out, "My Lord and my God." For 40 days he taught them about the kingdom. Then on the Mount of Olives he raised his hands, blessed, and ascended into heaven. A cloud hid him. But he didn't leave completely. He promised, "Lo, I am with you always, even to the end of the age," and still with those who love him.